Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this virtual conference, Moodlemoot Philippines 2022. Thank you so much, Nefila, for inviting me to discuss intellectual property and role of digital learning. Again, I'm Dr. Frederick P. Romero of the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines. And this is my topic, intellectual property and the power of digital learning. Okay. Before I cover digital learning, it is very important that everyone here in this virtual conference know about or be aware and conscious about intellectual property. Intellectual property, words, intellectual means your mind, right? Intellect, your creativity, your innovativeness. And property is something that can be owned, it has value. Okay, put them together. This refers to the creations of the mind. These are the things that you created because of your creativity, your innovativeness, your artistry. So that's intellectual property. I'm not sure if all of you or some of you are non-Filipinos or you cannot understand Tagalog, but the Filipino translation of intellectual property is yamang isip. Okay, it is the resources created by your mind, yaman, and then isip. Okay, in essence, according to the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, it covers inventions. Inventions are products, solutions that are there or were created because it has or it need to solve a particular problem or challenge. It also covers literary and artistic works, diba? Like in education, diba? Research, presentations. In terms of arts, these are the novels, films, music, and so on, created because of our artistry and creativity. It also includes designs of our laptop, designs of our vehicles, gadgets, and so on. It's also protected under the Intellectual Property Code. And of course, symbols, names, and images used in commerce. Nefila is a symbol and name representing a very good institution in terms of learning management system. Diba? It tells you that these activities, these products and services are created or offered by Nefila. So symbols and names of products and services are also part of intellectual property. Okay, so in essence, the intellectual property rights or your rights to that property includes the patent. Patent is the rights or the power given to the owner of the invention on how or whether the invention can be used by others. Okay, if you have an invention, of course you want to capitalize on that, commercialize, reap the benefits and incentives. So you have the power to decide, you want to use my invention, you have to pay, you have to license it. So that's your patent rights. Connected with the patent is the utility model. There are some creations that it's not that inventive. It's still new, it's still useful, but it's not that inventive or it's not too complex. And it's protected by utility model. Okay. Industrial design, as discussed, it gives the product aesthetic design, something that will make it attractive, right? And of course, the trademark, the mark of the trade, the mark of the product, symbols, signs that enables us to distinguish where the product or services are coming from. As discussed, copyright is the term for the bundle of rights given to the creators of literary and artistic works, making sure that no one can actually violate, abuse the use of the creative works and other IP-related areas. Okay, so why IP is very important? Why intellectual property is very important? I was informed that the audience of this virtual conference is comprehensive, diba? Cross-cutting different industries, government, private institutions, academics, okay, and some organizations. So the beauty about intellectual property is it cross-cuts different disciplines, different industries. So number one, why intellectual property is very important. First, IP makes innovation possible. We have to reward and recognize the creators, the inventors. Okay? These inventors and creators created the intellectual property to make our life easier. Okay, they created it using their energy, their money, time to build that product, services, solutions, and artistic works. And we have to recognize them, because if we will not recognize them, then they cannot reap the benefits of their intellectual property creation. Okay, so example, there's an inventor who invented something that's very useful. However, that product was what? Abused, violated, being copied rampantly in the market. He or she can no longer reap the benefits because other individuals, diba, may just buy the copied product, the counterfeited product. And for that inventor, he will just realize, what's the point of inventing? But remember, these creators are, their main source of income is that their work. Diba? If they can no longer earn from their creations, then they might probably just find other jobs. Diba? Pays good, give them, diba, income, but for their daily costs of living. And that will be problematic because we will lose great inventors. We will lose entrepreneurs. We will lose creatives. Okay, so IP makes innovation possible. Number two, it ensures quality. Okay, we know that we are buying this product. For example, this laptop, it's from Apple. It's MacBook. We know if it's that this is of good quality, it's durable. Okay, we are confident in using this product because it came from, diba, a reputable institution or corporation. We are buying food from this restaurant because it's really delicious. We are buying medicine. Imagine that, medicine, but to treat our sickness, our ailments, because we trust that medicine. Without intellectual property, everything will be a challenge. We don't know which is fake, which is authentic. Diba? It now lowers our confidence to the product or to the authenticity and quality of the products. So IP ensures quality. It makes also our lives easier. Okay? Imagine pre-pandemic, we're all fine doing face-to-face. But because of pandemic, we are doing doing online, diba? Learning should still continue. Education should still continue. Okay? So my point being is we're still experiencing education learning because of some technologies. Okay? internet, laptop, Zoom, of course, learning management system like Moodle. Okay, so IP improves our daily lives. There's a shortage in terms of food because of intellectual property. We have machineries, products, creations, okay, equipments to increase food supply. Okay, if we don't have intellectual property, we'll definitely experience food shortage. And also, IP entertains us. Remember the first 2 months, 3 months of the pandemic, we don't know what to do. We stopped working. We were so bothered about everything happening in our surrounding. Diba? Most of us, and you can admit it, it's fine. Diba? Watch series in Netflix. Diba? Who among you watch Crash Landing on You? Who watched Reply 1988? Who watched a lot of K-drama, US series during the pandemic? Because diba, it strengthened at least our psychological and emotional well-being. Some of us, if not most of us, diba, listen to Spotify, watch YouTube, diba? Because it uplifts us, our emotional well-being. If we don't protect the creators, if they will just know na my creations will be pirated lang, my books will be photocopied in recto or downloaded illegally, then what's the point of writing? What's the point of composing? Again, going back, most of these creators, that's their only source of income. Yes, it's good to express. It's good to express your feelings through books. But if we don't protect the creations, the creators, then it will affect us. A huge part of our employment depends on creative industries. In fact, we are number one in the world in terms of the number of employment generated by copyright or creative industries. That's how important protecting intellectual property. Okay, and IP is for everyone. It's not just for the creators. You yourself, you are a user of intellectual property. You are part of all of this. Okay, but basically going back to the question or my topic, intellectual property and the power of distance learning. It's all about learning, okay? Intellectual property. Remember, I'm sure not all of you are lawyers, but remember the saying, ignorance of the law excuses no one, okay? Ignorance of the law excuses no one. So just because you don't know intellectual property, that doesn't give you an excuse to say, oops, I don't know, I'm sorry if I violated your rights. There are criminal and civil penalties when you infringe or violated intellectual property rights. So knowledge on intellectual property is very, very important. Okay. So why knowledge on IP important? Number one, to know your rights as the creator of intellectual property and protect against intellectual property infringement. We are here because it's about the idea of learning management system. Most of you, if not all, you are connected with creations of knowledge, providing learning experience to your respective stakeholders. You are a creator. So intellectual property knowledge is important so that you know your rights. Because if you don't know your rights, then most probably you will not enforce it. And if you will not enforce it, the violators would say, okay, the creators are not, they don't care about their rights, then I will violate it. Because the creators do not know their own rights. Okay, if you know your rights, you'll know what to do next. But you want to protect it, you want to enforce it. Okay, so knowledge on intellectual property is very important. Second, it is a two-way street. Remember, all participants of this virtual conference. Intellectual property protection is two-way. You are a creator, but you are also a user. It is important because for you to know the rights of others on their IP and to build culture of respect on intellectual property. Because it's a bit nonsense, diba? That you would say, respect my rights, respect my songs, my books. Okay, do not violate my rights, and yet you are downloading illegal music from the internet, from Pirate Bay, kung may Pirate Bay pa. You're saying, respect my invention, and yet your computer, you have illegal or counterfeited softwares. Diba? If you want your rights to be protected, make sure that you also respect other creators' rights so that we can build a culture of respect on intellectual property, not a culture where copying, piracy, and counterfeiting are norms. Okay? And last but not the least, why knowledge on IP is very important, because everyone is part of this goal. Okay? You are part of the whole of society's approach in creating a stronger, effective IP system. Don't say na, I'm not a creator, I don't care. Every day, in your own respective place right now, look around you. All of it, there's intellectual property. You are involved here, okay, as a creator, as a user of intellectual property. For us, the Philippines, to experience effective and strong IP system, all of us needs to know about intellectual property. Okay? So why I am connecting this with digital learning? Because IPOPHL has a mandate in terms of making sure that the society is aware and conscious about intellectual property. The mandate of IPOPHL carries with it the responsibility to promote knowledge and awareness on intellectual property for national development. So the Philippines has adopted the policy of using the IP system to facilitate a culture of innovation, a culture of creativity. And knowledge is very important in achieving that culture. Thus, programs are constantly being conducted to continue to strengthen IP education and awareness among our different stakeholders across different industries, across different provinces and areas in the Philippines. Okay? However, of course, we have a lot of programs. We have a lot of learning programs, basic, intermediate, advanced training programs for different sectors. Okay. However, what we have done so far in terms of the iceberg is just the tip of the iceberg. I will bet my 1 month salary, okay, that most of you have, a little knowledge about intellectual property. Don't worry, mababa lang naman po yung sweldo ko. But I'm very, very sure there's a high chance you maybe have attended just one seminar on intellectual property, but not comprehensive. So this is what we've done so far. And these are the areas in the Philippines that needs to be addressed. We need to cover more areas in the Philippines, okay, where IP education is vital, especially in the provinces. Because in the provinces, there are a lot of creations. We need to collaborate with other government agency units, industry sectors, private organizations, so that we can efficiently and effectively diffuse the knowledge on intellectual property. Okay? And as this mentioned by our Director General Roel Barba, during his July 30, 2020 speech. IPOPHL will continue in our role as enablers to inventors, creators, artists, entrepreneurs, and industries as we transition not only into a new normal, but a better normal. Okay? Thus, amidst the current health crisis and beyond, lahat na magsilabasan. Next disease, hopefully not naman too fast, monkeypox, and whatever disease, and beyond. IPOPHL continues to be passionate to elevate IP learning in the Philippines. Thus, IPOPHL proudly presents the ILAW learning, ILAW, which is the IPOPHL Learning Activities Workspace. This is the official e-learning platform or online learning management system of IPOPHL for external stakeholder to support its mission to build an inclusive intellectual property system serving the needs of the Philippines. We have our own Moodle-based learning management system called ILAW, IPOPHL Learning Activities Workspace. So what is ILAW? ILAW means light. To those foreigners who are attending the virtual workshop, light in Tagalog or in Filipino is called ilaw. Okay, light through information technology. IP learning through ILAW is where our external stakeholders can be educated and trained on IP via self-paced, on-demand modules containing lectures, videos, and interactive activities. And we are proud to say that ILAW or IPOPHL, IPOPHL ILAW is the first in Southeast Asia. Okay, first in Southeast Asia, and first and only intellectual property online learning management system for external audiences. Other countries, they may have learning management system, but for their internal personnel. But IPOPHL's ILAW is the first and only IP learning management system for external audiences, not just Filipinos, but any individuals in the world can access ILAW. Okay, through ILAW, IPOPHL also hopes to support the IP learning initiatives of the ASEAN or Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Okay, it supports the IPOPHL's strategic goals, which includes build collaboration and partnership. Yes, because we're building partnership with Nefila in terms of this learning management platform. We are partnering with other government agencies in terms of integrating IP learning through ILAW. Raise the ante for customer service. Yes, okay, because we are elevating our customer service related to IP education through this self-paced, on-demand learning platform. Integrate, raise IP awareness. It's self-explanatory. That's what ILAW is for. Go back to basic by focusing on the mandate of IPOPHL, okay, which is educating and teaching intellectual property. Highlight human capital advancement. Okay. Moving forward, we hope that through ILAW, competency-based framework on different personnel or workforce in the Philippines can be elevated, can be highlighted, because capital or human capital advancement is very important in our economic and social-cultural development. And last but not the least, transform IPOPHL into a fully digitalized agency. We are proud to say that IPOPHL is maybe one of the first, if not the first, government agency in the Philippines who can already provide service 100% online. No more manual filing. All of our activities can be done online. In fact, even trademark filing, trademark application, patent application, online hearing, even learning. Okay, everything is done online. Okay, so IPOPHL supports the BRIGHT strategic goals. Okay, of IPOPHL. Okay, so I'll just spend the next few slides demonstrating to our virtual participants the ilaw. Please advise if you can hear the music. So when you go to home, this is the website, ilaw.ipophl.gov.ph. Okay, you will learn about what ilaw is, this platform, and then the logos of our courses and visuals about our trainings. Okay. And a short list or a list of videos related to intellectual property. So we've uploaded some videos, and of course, our contact information at the bottom of the page. Okay. So courses, when you click home, go to home and then click courses, you will see the list of courses, okay, that you can access through ilaw. So there are different subcategories of IP courses. When you click them, okay, you can just, let's say, ILIP, which is our basic intellectual property learning module. So introduction to IP, copyright, trademark, and patents, click them, okay, and enroll. Then you can have your own self-paced, on-demand introduction training program on intellectual property. Okay, and that's how you enter your username and password. So right now we have a lot. Actually, we just started, we launched this last April. So we've already uploaded some modules, ILEAP, IP Forward, IPOPHL, IP Bootcamp, MCLE for lawyers, and so on and so forth. These are the current and past offerings of IP Forward. In fact, next month, it's the language month. So we will translate IP learning in Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, and Ilonggo. Yeah. So IP Forward for enforcement, for teachers, for music creators, for engineers, social media content creators, TikTokers, social media influencers, mga TikTokers nga, and visual artists. Yeah. So for news, so when you click the news in the website, click news, you will now see all relevant press releases, news articles related to IPOPHL or intellectual property in the Philippines. Okay, it will automatically show the link in the news section in our IPOPHL website. Okay, so that you can also be informed about what's happening with the IP in the Philippines, not just in the Philippines, also globally. Okay. And references. So aside from on-demand modules and news, the Intellectual Property Academy of the Philippines, or the IP Academy of the Philippines, regularly publish resources, resource materials in terms, in relation to intellectual property. So we have here the glossary, Tagalog, English of intellectual property terms, for trademark, for copyright, and for patents. And we have other general terms related to intellectual property. Okay. So when you go to the about, also click the copyright reference book. This is a reference book created by our Bureau of Copyrights and Related Rights. Okay, and it is also available in our website in ILAW. Okay. So more moving forward, we will regularly update the resources tab so that these resources can complement your digital learning. Okay. And for videos, so although we upload videos related to certain topics in intellectual property, we have separate videos for certain information for again to elevate your digital learning, how to file, an introduction of IPOPHL, okay, and some useful snippets, short videos to strengthen your IP digital learning. Okay, so how to log in? Go to ilaw.ipophil.gov.ph. You can do it right now if you want. So this can also be an immersive virtual conference. Okay, click login, pick your username. Okay, enter your password and some of your details so that we would know your profile, especially if we will promote other future training programs for certain sectors or industries. Okay, so email address, first name and then surname, your town, affiliation, designation, educational attainment, contact information, sex at birth. Okay, so once you've inputted all the information and click the data privacy consent, you may now create your ILAW account. Okay. There. So I'll just show a short video about ILAW and its current update since it started early this year. Hope you like it. That's very short, but it gives you a glimpse of what we've achieved so far. In fact, we just started April, May, June, July, just 3 months. And when we check, I think Nefela can confirm it. We've already reached more than between 1,000 to 2,000, 1,000 to 3,000 users already created their account, and we hope to increase these numbers in the future. Okay. In fact, we've also covered other countries as shown in the video. Sri Lanka, China, I forgot the countries, but it's not just for the Filipinos, but also Filipinos in other countries, OFWs or other individuals in other countries who want to learn about intellectual property in the Philippines. As you may know, intellectual property rights or the IP law of countries there's a territoriality principle. Each country has a different set of rules and regulations in relation to intellectual property. Okay, so it's also important that other countries would know about intellectual property rights in the Philippines. So digital learning is definitely a key component for IPOPHL to reach different stakeholders all over the Philippines. Intellectual property. We are, in fact, just to inform you, the IP Academy consists only around 7 members. Okay, 7 personnel, and IPOPHL as a whole, just I think 250 warm bodies, 400 including contractuals and other consultants. So we are still a very small government agency, but if you will realize, our country is an archipelago. There are a lot of places that needs to be covered in terms of IP learning, and digital learning definitely will play a vital role in reaching individuals so that they will be educated in intellectual property. Okay? Remember that an IP educated and IP aware society is vital for the economic and socio-cultural development. If we want to create more inventions, we need to be strong enough to know how to protect our rights. If you want to create more songs, more books, more films, okay, it will generate jobs for Filipinos. If we will protect our trademarks, our businesses, then it will generate income, okay, for our country, and it will be used for our development. So we have to make sure that we create a strong intellectual property system. And one key part of a very strong IP system is that the population, the society knows about intellectual property. That is where digital learning will come into the picture. Okay, so to end, if we want to achieve an IP conscious Philippines, let ilaw brighten your IP learning journey now and beyond. On behalf of the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines and the IP Academy, thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something and we were able to showcase to you the importance of IP and how digital learning will support our endeavor in creating an IP-conscious society. Maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Frederick Romero, for that very informative presentation. Indeed, knowledge on intellectual property rights and laws is important. And as you said, ignorance of the law does not excuse anyone. So now the floor is open for the Q&A. You can post your questions on your respective platforms. I believe we have one question from Ms. Aline Teresa Mendoza. So she actually has 3 questions. First is, how long does it usually take to protect one's original work, copywriting, and for patenting? I believe, sir, you're on mute.
Yeah, I just mentioned that let me just drink my coffee, but it's fine. I've already consumed it. Anyway, that's the beauty of the ilaw. You can learn on demand, but definitely since I'm here, I'm gonna answer the question of Miss Mendoza from Philippine Science High School. Wow, we are partners, by the way, Miss Mendoza. For copyright, according to the IP code, in terms of how, because you're asking how long, right? How long does it usually take? For copyrighted work, books, films, songs, you are protected upon the creation. From the moment you created it, by law, you're already protected. You don't need us. You don't need the National Library. Diba? You said, diba, sometimes you have that general idea na, I have to copyright it. Diba? Deposit it in National Library for me to get the certificate or IPOPHL. Same lang, that's basically the same. When you deposit your work sa IPOPHL, in IPOPHL, we also forward it to National Library. You are already protected by law, okay, from the moment of creation. So you can already enforce your rights. Diba? However, so why you don't need us? Well, actually, in a way, you need us because if there are some cases involving violations of copyright, okay, you need proof. You need documentation that it's really that you're owning it. That's the purpose of copyright deposit. Okay, so what I'm saying is, under the copyright law, once you've finished the painting, once you've written the song, the book, okay, but to give you more protection, cases, legal cases on need you need proof, public documents, and the certificate can be used as one of the evidence of your ownership. Second, actually madami yan, but second lang. Sometimes, if you will license or you will let other individuals or institutions use your work, sometimes they also require a documentation. For example, you have a song and it will be used in a commercial. Sometimes the corporation will say, can you give us proof that it's really yours? But it's good to have that certificate. Because remember, when I said, upon the moment of creation, what if you wrote the song in a tissue paper? Yes, you're protected under the copyright law. But what if something happened to that tissue paper? Diba? Nawala. It was burnt. It was thrown. You cannot just say, that's mine, but you don't have proof. Okay. For patent, normally between 2 to 3 years. Okay. Why is it it takes long? Because there are parts of the process that it needs to be published for a certain number of months. When you file, it will undergo examination. Kasi invention will be examined. Okay, hopefully you can attend some of our training programs. Actually, I'm in a training program right now. I'm just in a small storage room. Anyway, it needs to be checked if it passed the criteria of invention, newness, inventive steps, and useful. So it takes time. And also there's a publication period. That's the time where the public would say, that invention, I've already done that. I will file a response to IPOPHL. Okay. So normally for patent, 2 to 3 years. Let me already read the question of Ms. Mendoza. Will it be expensive, especially for ordinary one and one? For copyright deposits, it's not that expensive. 400 pesos, between 400 to 500. When you file it within 3 days or within a week, you will already receive the copyright certificate, the e-copy of the certificate. For patent, it's a bit pricey, okay? But we have programs to assist indigent creators. So we have the one for the world and one wanna make a mark. These are programs to assist individuals who may have challenges in terms of payment of applications. Do we need to have legal advisor to be able to do the process of protecting our rights? If it will be filed in court, in a way, you need legal professionals. Okay, they will definitely help you in enforcing your rights. So yes, most of the time you need legal advice from legal professionals. Okay, I think that answers the question of Ms. Mendoza. Ms. Brizia.
But sir, she has a follow-up question.
Follow-up question.
Um, clarification is how long is the process to have it legally protected? I understand to be legally protected is first to file, not first date of creation to say that it is legally mine.
Okay, we are already interchanging. Pero to clarify, copyright, you are protected from the moment of your creation and 50 years after your death. So if I have a music that I compose now, July 28, individuals need to seek permission from me from today, okay, until I'm alive, and 50 years after my death. Okay? So, sir, you're already dead. How can we seek permission? Of course, diba, in the estate or transfer of ownership law, but you have next of kin. Diba? You need to seek permission from those individuals. So you are protected from from the moment of creation and 50 years after your death. After that, 50 years, it's already public domain, meaning anyone can now exploit the copyrighted work. Okay, copyrighted work. You're saying about the first to file, it's for inventions. We have to make sure that we don't interchange or mix up inventions and copyrighted work. For patent, yes, it is first to file. Okay, first to file rule. Whoever filed it first, diba, has the right on that particular invention. Okay.
Okay, I hope that answers your questions, Ma'am Aline Teresa Mendoza. Now, we also have another question here from Mr. Felipe Soliera Jr. Which is more expensive to process? How much does it usually cost?
Copyright is very affordable. Yeah. As for the trademark, siguro I'm under the Copyright Bureau kasi, but I'll click. I will search the link in our website for you to see the fees for trademark and patent. Yeah, kasi I don't remember the exact. Pero medyo ano siya, it's a bit pricey, parang between 1,000 to 5,000 pesos yung filing fee. But I will definitely search it right now while we're waiting or before I leave so that you'll have the list of the fees of IPOPHL.
All right. I believe those are all the questions that we have for now. So thank you very much once again, Dr. Frederick Romero. On behalf of the organizers and participants, allow me to convey our gratitude to Dr. Romero and present him with a certificate of appreciation, which reads, Nefila Web Technology Incorporated presents this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Frederick Romero for sharing his invaluable knowledge and experience to the participants of the Moodlemoot Philippines 2022. This conference aims to bring together the Moodle community of practitioners and users to share experiences, research achievements, and innovative development using the most widely used open source learning management system, Moodle. Given this 28th day of July 2022, held virtually via Zoom. Signed by Ms. Cheryl R. Villaroman, MSIT President and Chief Executive Officer of Nefila Web Technology Incorporated, the only Moodlemoot partner in the Philippines. So once again, thank you very much, Dr. Romero.
Graciel, last I forgot to fully promote, but I actually wrote a book about intellectual property. I've already posted the link of that textbook or resource materials. It's in Tagalog. I Tagalize intellectual property so everyone would understand intellectual property, elementary, high school, college, anyone, even tindera in the market and tricycle driver can understand intellectual property. I've already posted the link if you want to purchase my Yamang Isip book, introductory book about intellectual property. Maraming salamat. Thank you so much, Nefila, for the invite. We appreciate your invitation for this virtual conference. Thank you po.